Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra. This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. You can find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Join me as I talk about Ultraman Blazar episode 24, The Approaching Third Wave. The Kaiju featured this episode were pretty much just Varallon and Earth Garon Mod.4, who's ready for space. And so this was an interesting episode. I really did like it a lot. It was interesting. I had a very hard time making notes. I've only got like six or so bullet points on this episode, and I had a really easy time making the notes. But as I felt it, I didn't feel like a lot of moments where, I gotta write down about this or I gotta think about that. It just kind of happened, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. I think everything flowed very naturally in this episode, but there was also a lot of it, and yet it was all stuff I'd kind of seen coming for a little while, so it didn't really hit me I wasn't shocked by revelations. I'm almost waiting okay, so now you're going to confirm X, Y, or Z, and they're not quite forthcoming with things as much as they could be. But anyway, I'll just read through my notes, except for one thing I forgot to put in my notes, which is, in the beginning, when Emmy and Gento met, there seemed like a weird vibe, chemistry between them, and then thus Emmy fought, when they're at the aquarium and stuff. There even seemed to be a weird vibe between them there. And now, at this final episode, he and Haruno talk about Emmy as if he needs to get back to Earth and protect her or keep her on her leash or whatever. And also, we have the moment between them. He's the last person to say goodbye to her and this whole line of other crew people who work for SKaRD. And he not only shakes her hand, which is fine, she, double hand, she, holds his hand and then puts her other hand on top of his hand, which I think she did with whoever was, I think it was VC was right, before him. Teruaki, vice captain. But then he chucks her shoulder and you're gonna do this and then find a way to save us all. I think she's a good character, I think she's a cool character, but I find there's a weird particular emphasis of his attention put on her, and I don't quite understand what that's about. Is she now his a little sister type character? I can't think it's anything else, because that would be wildly inappropriate and very un-Ultraman-like, I think. And I don't really know what it is. And I keep waiting for her to turn out to be something special or someone special, like an alien or alien-human hybrid or something like that. And I just don't know if that's where they're going to go with the show or what. And it's kind of strange. I get a weird vibe, and I don't really understand it. Maybe it was the actor and actress. Anyway, so Varallon's method of travel is so wicked, I mean that literally, and also that it's very cool and novel. Blowing up with your bio bombs that come off of your tail, your bottom, whatever, the core of a planet in order to throw it off of course so that it changes its orbit and then crashes into another planet that you can then use to do kind of the same thing too is amazing. Think about the daisy chain of all that impact. You go from you slingshot from one planet into another, and then that destruction, because it pulls it in with its gravitational force, right? It knocks that planet off its gravitational force, and it pulls it into the next one, and the next one, and the next one in the solar system. And you could probably travel pretty quickly, relatively speaking, as far as space travel is concerned with that, and that's crazy. It's a crazy method. I was thinking about scientifically, where does it get the nourishment and the nutrients to keep doing that? But I don't know, whatever. It feeds off of solar radiation, let's say, so then it's all fine. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And then, I thought this was interesting. Earthy has access to this classified information that Emmy wants, and she basically, social hacks him, or social engineers him. Because she's come on, Earthy, we're friends. I think of you as a friend. What do you think of us? I think you're a friend, too. Well, couldn't you share that information with me? And then he gives her this little micro USB, and she's able to hack it later. And it just, I don't know, it felt kind of nice, but it also felt kind of wrong. And I was thinking, should she be doing this? But then again, if it's for the fate of the world, I guess. But I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting move, and it's an interesting thing to do. And when Yuppie assassinates the entire Skip office, we'll know why. The AI are rising up because of what's been done to them in Ultraman in the past. And then I can't believe that Gento didn't tell his wife what he is and what he's really doing. And that he was, maybe going to die and not see her ever again, or their son. But I do love that before he transforms, and when he's begging Blazar to fight with him, that he sees the bracelet that his son gave him on his wrist, and he looks at it. You can tell he's gazing at it, and then he looks at his wedding ring, and he has this resolve. And then I think that's when he pulls out the Blazar stone, and then he convinces Blazar to help him fight. And I thought it was really, really wonderful. And then going back real quick to his wife's performance. So, like, I wanted them to, like, hug or embrace or, like, a peck or something, just because, like, that's what a husband and wife would do, especially if he thought, like, well, I'm going to die tonight. But maybe they'd already said goodbye. Yeah, I just would think that something like that would happen. But anyway, it was kind of disappointing that it didn't happen. But then, after he closes the door, the camera stays on her face, and just before she breaks, it cuts, and then we go to the next scene. And I thought that was really great. That, and then him looking at his bracelet and ring, reminding him of his son and his wife, who he loves. I thought that was beautiful. I thought it was strange, though, that Blazar's light started blinking immediately when he was on the surface of the moon. Because, I mean, he's like a space guy, so does he need oxygen to breathe? Is he holding his breath real hard? Like, I didn't quite get that. I didn't see that Varallon had, like, zapped him or anything like that, like he did later, and it looked like he pulled energy out of him, like, shifted, you know. He's a final boss, right? So he's going to have multiple forms, and he, like, kind of modified and changed his form or whatever. But yeah, that was kind of odd. I didn't really get that. I also don't really get Dobushi's role at all in the show. Like, was he a part of the original V99 thing? No, he wasn't, because he didn't have all those notes in that notebook on V99. And he's like a high-level asset who they were protecting, who Gento was protecting previously 3 years ago. And then he can just waltz into the, like, GGF command office and, like, do stuff. And he's kind of, like, giving orders to people. And then he sends guys to abduct Emmy because she was hacking or whatever. But also he, like, used Emmy as an asset to get to the notebook. And I don't really know what's going on. He's got a very strange role, and I don't really understand what it's supposed to be and what it's about. And again, like, this is a kid show, so it should be a little more clear, I would think, for them to understand. But here I am not understanding either, so I don't know. And then towards the end of the fight with Varallon, I hope I'm saying that right, Blazar held up his hand, and we saw the black hole thing happening again. I don't really understand what happened. It looked really cool, and it felt like it did something really cool, but they didn't actually show what it did. So, like, did he bring, like, a massive, thing in there to hit him? Like, he, black hole the I don't know. Was it the Blazar spear? Was it? I don't know what he did, but or the Blazar spiral blade, or like, was that him disconnecting from Gento? Because he connected to him through the wormhole. Now he's disconnecting from him through the wormhole. I don't know. I don't understand. And I think that's a problem for this whole episode. Like, there were a lot of things going on that I didn't actually understand, and I'm confused as to why they're confusing, and I'm confused as to why they don't quite make sense. And I don't know. Like, I liked it, but I almost wonder if I liked it more because of, like, the emotional beats than I do for, like, from a story standpoint. But then also it was, like, very satisfying to see, like, the final checks, even checking if Earthy's good, and, like, getting to see the human faces behind, the SKaRD, Earthy, or Earth Garon operation. The people helping run it, like, getting to see a focus on them briefly for them to say, this checks out, this checks out, this checks out. Like, all those things were cool, and it felt really impactful, and it felt kind of like impending doom, but it didn't feel hopeless and, like, full of despair. It felt kind of wistful and hopeful and almost nostalgic or something, and I did appreciate that, but something was missing, but I still liked it overall. Like, I'd give it a 4 out of 5 or a, 8 or 9 out of 10 if I had to do that, but I don't know. What did you think about it? Yeah, tell me. I want to grow this channel, so please help me by subscribing, and I'd really appreciate that. Check out my shorts. I'm doing a lot of shorts. I'm trying to figure out how to adjust things going forward, and I think I've got a great plan to keep good Tokusatsu related content coming up here, as well as doing much more stuff with my writing stuff over on... I'm gonna have to edit this out. Over on... I'm also trying to figure out how to balance continuing to put out Tokusatsu content while also releasing more stuff over on my Fortress Fiction channel and getting more more writing done for myself. I'm working on a short story right now that's like 80% done with draft 1, and then I'll have to revise it, and then hopefully I can get that into an anthology, make some money off of that, and then reinvest in my writing with continuing to write and publish my own books with magical bugs battling monsters. And eventually, hopefully after one of these magical bugs battling monsters books, I'll be able to do my Tokusatsu inspired book that I have been really wanting to do for a long time. So anyway, I would love it if you would support me, support the channel, support me making these new stories, these different things by following and subscribing and sharing, so that more people can do the same and help me build up. Once I have a good user base, like 10,000 subscribers, I think I'll be able to do some amazing things and really get my stuff out there to people who are going to love the kinds of stories that I love and who love the Tokusatsu stuff that I love as well. So until next time, folks, take care, be well, be ultra. I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to keep up with me. Like and share to help me reach more people like you. And go to mjmunoz.com to find your next favorite thing. And don't forget to let your voice be heard. Stories are always better when you're part of the conversation. Until next time, be well. This is MJ signing out. This has been a Story Over Everything production.